how calligraphy became the star of luxury events. Welcome to the She Means Business Master Society podcast, where we empower entrepreneurs to thrive in their journey. In each episode, we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship. We've faced our fair share of challenges, and that's why we've created this space. Here, we will connect with incredible guests, key figures in their fields who have navigated the ups and downs of their entrepreneurial careers. Together, we will share our experiences, insights, and tools that can help you elevate your business to new heights. So, get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the knowledge you need to succeed. Let's jump into today's episode. Comenzamos. Welcome one more time to the Master Society podcast, the She Means Business Master Society podcast. I am very excited for today because this is our very first official podcast with one of our 2025 women in the campaign of the She Means Business. I want to introduce you to a superstar, Miss Susan Houseman. How are you?
I'm wonderful. What a glowing introduction. Thank you.
Susan, thank you for being here. You have no idea how much I admire you, and I want to say it publicly because we've been talking since last year. I think we met, right? And every time I talk to you, it's really inspiring because I know you being through hard times in your life and the way you overcame it and how you became the artist that you are now. So first of all, I don't want to get into very deep into what your story is because for that we're going to have the book that is coming out in October. But I want a little bit of going back in your story. Who is Susan Houseman and how she started?
Well, to start off, I think I've always been a performer. I started off with a fascination of creating things and wanting to be in the theater and to, I just loved the whole artistic realm and getting up in front of a stage and things like that. That was always fun for me. And as life evolved, I did summer stock theater and I did a variety of, I have a degree in speech and theater, and I would work certain jobs that had to do with speech jobs and talking and selling and things like that. But then once I was a mom, I had kids that at home, and I didn't want to run off to auditions and be in theater. I had to find something at home I could do that I could be creative with, and also for the kids. So that's when I started dabbling in drawing, but I was like, yeah, that's not really right. That's not fitting me. And then I saw this art piece in a store, and it was beyond me budget-wise to buy it. So I was like, well, why don't I try making it myself? And that's where the calligraphy started, because I went and bought the supplies. I tried to make this wall piece for my house, very ambitious, and it didn't work out. It didn't turn out at all. But I realized, oh, I like this, so I want to know more about it. So then I started doing research. I got a book, and then eventually that led to classes, and that was 35 years ago.
Oh, wow. Well, for those who don't know, Susan is an artist in calligraphy. I personally got exposed to what she does in a very different way because I photographed Susan last year for her personal branding. And what I had in mind of what a calligraphy was, an artist in calligraphy, was very different to what I was exposed with Susan. So tell us about what you do because, okay, so let me go back to that thought because what I had in my mind of an artist in calligraphy was somebody that will teach others how to write, right? How to write pretty, right? Or somebody that will write pretty on notebooks or, just definitely an art. But the way you do it, Susan, is very specific and it's luxurious.
Yes. So it's an evolution. One of the things about calligraphy when I started out, it was the basic on paper. Mm-hmm. And so I worked a lot of weddings. I did teach a lot of classes. And calligraphy itself means beautiful lettering. That's what the word calligraphy means. And there's all kinds of styles out there, which you would call a font, but we call them lettering styles. So there were so many different styles I wanted to learn. And over the years, that's what I've done. And as I was doing that, I taught classes and then I had my work published. I've created a stamp line. I just kind of flowed with whatever direction life was bringing to me. And as things evolved in 2020 with COVID, it wiped out my calligraphy business because I was a very big wedding calligrapher.
Weddings, that's
in
right.
St. Louis. And so had been recognized by the Knot. I had a really good business going. 2020 came along and I was really excited because I had just been acknowledged and received an award from the Knot. And so I was looking forward to a really great year. And then COVID came, it shut everything down. The poor brides were beyond themselves because they couldn't get married when they wanted to. They didn't know when they were going to be able to. And then my mother passed away. And so these things, the evolution of things that happened made me stop. And I'm like, okay, so I can't do weddings. I'm still doing my calligraphy because I'm not going to stop, but I'm a little bit depressed. And that evolved and I started engraving. Well, what I didn't realize at the time is when I was engraving that I was taking a tool and writing on glass. So I'm taking my lettering and I'm practicing on glass instead of on paper. And that, what I didn't realize at the time, was the leading thing coming out of COVID. The luxury brands, of course, they wanted to bring people back into the stores. And because they wanted to bring people back into the stores, they needed to find something so that we could, because we need that human connection.
Something different, right? Something,
Yes.
a showstopper.
And it's a keepsake, something that's going to make you feel good and exciting. And so this is when Nordstrom's, kind of brilliant, said, let's get these calligraphers come in and engrave perfume bottles. So these, fragrances like, YSL and Joe Malone and, Chanel and all of them, they were saying, yes, let's do that. So they bring in the calligraphers to do the engraving and make it a keepsake item. Now you get to keep it. So not only are you buying this perfume bottle that smells wonderful, but it's personalized for the person you're giving it to. So whether it's Christmas or whatever, that was the ball rolling. It started things going. And so you had luxury brands and other businesses doing this where they wanted to hire the calligraphers to come in, and distilleries, liquor brands, wine, champagne. Well, not champagne because you can't engrave on champagne, but you can write on it. You can't, on the bottle. So that evolved from there. And then, so I got into that. I was doing that. And then I was asked if I could hot foil. So hot foiling is taking a basic wood burner and you take the gold or silver foil and you foil it onto leather.
Oh, wow.
And so it's permanent. Just like the engraving, it's permanent on the glass. It's never going to go away. It is forever. So it makes that special keepsake item for yourself or for someone that you want to give it to.
Right.
And that is something that has happened, that has exploded over the years since 2020. Well, actually, I think it's 2021 when it really launched.
A little bit more.
Everywhere.
It is crazy how something so worldwide, like the pandemic, really redefine a lot of things for everyone, right?
Yes.
And in your case was going from weddings, maybe something that is huge, right? In our industry, everywhere is huge weddings, but really took you from amazing to whoa, right? I mean, hitting
Right.
that because,
Right.
I mean, you're in the right place. You said you came from St. Louis to Vegas, right?
Yes.
And Vegas, how is that transition? Because I know it's a very different environment. Vegas is definitely a show. So how is that transition for you and your family too?
Yeah. It was unexpected. So coming here, St. Louis had a certain market. And St. Louis it is a different vibe completely than Vegas. That's obvious. But Vegas is also really hospitality centered.
Correct.
And it has that wow, it is big and bright and bold, and they want to go out there and do the impressive. They want to leave you speechless. And I think that because of that, you see the luxury brands, you see corporations and things like that wanting to embrace this because of the tangibility. It creates that human bond, and it leaves them with a memory item.
That first impression too, right?
That's
Like
right,
it's so
that
important
first
for
impression.
Vegas.
Right. And Vegas is it's the bomb. Here in Vegas it's the bomb. And so I didn't realize that. I didn't know. And not I hadn't even moved here when I'd already booked a job. And I booked a couple before I moved here. And then when I moved here, I had events. I was working live events. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing.
And what a responsibility also. I mean, it's amazing, but you have a background as a performer, which I am sure really helped you because, as you said, you're like that human connection that brands are trying to accomplish. So how that performer side of you has helped you to become the calligrapher you are in the luxury events?
Well, I think that it's one of those where, engaging with somebody and having that human connection and having that interaction is priceless. It is. It's priceless. And I've worked so many hours in my own studio working on the weddings and behind the scenes and not having that interaction with a person and not seeing their response. When I do a live event, I get to see and witness the response of the person who's receiving it. And they may get it for their family member, they might be getting it for their mom or their aunt or whatever, but it's it's priceless. It really is. It's that joy. And that also there's that opportunity for me to teach something that I love right there. So people can stand and watch while I'm doing it. They can go off and talk if they want to. They can go shop some more and come back. But there's that interaction and being in that flow. And there's, I think the first event I did was at the first event for Nordstrom's. They had a DJ there. So you had, and I've experienced this before, but when you go to the fashion show and you're in there and you've got the DJ going and you've got the music going and you've got people walking through and they're dancing and then
How cool is that? So it's
you
part of the show, right?
yes, yes.
That's
And
amazing.
it's contagious.
It is
you know.
contagious. It gets the vibe going for
Yeah,
everyone.
right. But it can also be a dinner party where you're at a dinner party and they want to make that special and they want you to be there for the dinner party to personalize something so those guests when they leave they're leaving with that memory and then the experience of the dinner party. So it's in a way it brings that magical experience and a memory that people don't forget.
And for personal events, great. But for the brands to do that, I think it's genius because, as you say, usually, you get, I don't know, a swag bag or something like that. But how amazing is to see an artist like you to see, to write whatever, the product is
Right.
and really take it home. And
Yeah.
on top of it, they get to learn a little bit of what you do. So whenever you're doing these presentations, do you have a microphone and you're explaining what you do to people if they stay?
So most of the time you don't have a microphone. You do have, depending on what event you're doing, like if it's a trade show or something where you're there with a brand, like a company brand, and you're actually personalizing their swag that they have. So you could be at a technology convention or like I was at Oracle for a certain company and I was there doing hot foiling on luggage tags. And so it's specific to them and it speaks to their clients. And then they might have VIP clients that they have special things that they want to give to their clients. That's something I can work on too. And so it ranges with, depending on what the event is, what it could, what I will be doing and who it's for. It's never actually a show, but it is, because you're right there in front of people
Yes.
and you're performing. And things happen.
Right.
You
And if
know?
you didn't have that background, maybe it will be a little bit harder for you to be in front of people. I mean, it could be
Yeah,
intimidating, right?
right,
If you're doing
right.
something so that takes or requires to be so focused. So, and you're doing it their life, I feel that everything that you have in your background as a performer really
Yes.
helps.
Yes. I am, it's funny because I think everybody is an introvert to a certain extent and an extrovert. And the extrovert comes out when I am in front of people. The introvert is the person after the event 3 days later, I'm at home on the couch in my
Don't
sweats.
talk to me. I think all of us, yes, you're right.
So everybody has that, but it's that opportunity to take all of the things that I have learned over my lifetime and to engage with people because there's nothing like it. There's really nothing like engaging with people. And I think that there's that appreciation that comes from that experience we all had with COVID because we saw each other, but we saw each other on a screen. It's different when you're sitting in front of somebody.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
It's different when you engage in that human connection. Human connection can happen over the screen, but it's just not going to be the same. And then when you are creating something that you're actually, with your hands, you're creating it in front of the person so they can see what you're doing. That in itself is another magical element that if with the AI stuff that's out there, it's great, but there's a place for it. And then there's a place for this because it's tangible
Correct.
and
Yes.
it's a connection, something that's beyond that screen.
I love that you say that because I want to take this conversation also to what human connection is. I interviewed Susan for her story, that the one that we're writing. So I can literally tell you exactly how her story is. So many times I heard it from our voice recording, and whenever we wrote it, I revised it and everything. But you mentioned several times that the way you create connection with people that are exactly the people that you need to talk to. So there are key people they're gonna take you towards the path that you are on right now. So it's that human connection that you are very good at it. You're very good at at talking to people, engaging, and that's why you're in the world that you are. So I want to take this also because some people sometimes struggle with finding that direction, right? And you mentioned in your interview how going into that key people, and I want you to expand on that. So who you meet and who you talk to during these events is what had take you to all this.
Right.
It's Susan Houseman now.
I think that the networking side of it that comes out.
Yes.
You can network, but I also believe you can go to a business meeting and network. But you're networking when you go and get your photograph taken because that is a connection you're making with that person that is taking your photograph. And maybe the person who's behind the scenes that you make that connection with, who remembers you. I was at an event and there was another vendor at this event and they were doing their thing. I was doing my thing because it was busy. It was a short amount of time. We had a lot to do. And so we said hi, we passed information, but I was entrenched into what I was doing. Those people remembered me. They remembered my hot foiling. They remembered what I did. They remembered my name and they contacted me then this year. So that was last year. They contacted me this year. So I started my first event this year with those people. So your networking isn't necessarily only at a meeting. It is with the people you engage with during daily life. You just never know who that person is. And sometimes when you're scared the most about doing something, that's when you kind of need to lean into it because that is where there's something there. There's something there. And to follow it is like doing a podcast. I was terrified to do a podcast. And, because I'm sharing, am I going to speak well? Things like that you're considering. But at the same time, there are other people out there who are going to maybe learn something from what I share. And leaning into that, I don't know where this journey will take me, but I know that doing these, doing, um, taking steps to connect with people, they will take my information and pass it on to somebody, and that will pass it on to somebody else. And it's priceless. You can't do it. You can't be everywhere,
And especially whenever you work with people, right? And before, whenever you were working behind the scenes with the knot, right? Whenever you were
Yes.
doing weddings, how did you create that chain that made you so big into weddings?
So I got to know photographers, so wedding photographers. I got to know event planners, and I just was always looking around. I participated whenever they would do photo shoots, and they would need calligraphy items, and so they would see who would be available to work on that, and you collaborate with them, so you get your name out. Maybe you get published in a magazine because that photo is accepted by one of the bridal magazines. And that is how that happened for me, is because I did do that.
So you were still
And
doing the homework of putting
you
yourself
have to
out there.
you have to do the homework. You as an entrepreneur, it is uncomfortable and sometimes it's intimidating and discouraging, but you have to do the homework, because if you don't do it, who is? Who's going to do it? It's your job.
Yeah,
It's
you need
your
to promote
business.
yourself and really go out and knock
Right.
doors.
And there are times when, you if it's a hurdle that I feel like I don't know I can get over, I kind of take a moment and break it down to find out what is it that I really want out of this. Am I doing it because I think I should do it because some business person gave me this perspective and said I should do it, or is this what I want to do?
What do your heart want?
What does your heart want? Right. And so if your heart is into it, then you are going to overcome your fear, and you're going to come across the right people. If it's something that you've been told how to do and you're supposed to do, then it's probably not going to work out. You're going to feel it. It's going to slide away from underneath you. You're going to lose your enthusiasm about it. It's not that you're a quitter. It's just that it's not the right
The
direction.
spark is not there.
That's right.
Yes,
Spark's not there.
and I love this of you because you were very clear in how you created this path for yourself. Nobody gave it to you. You did this for yourself. So, Susan, I am so happy you're here with me. I'm going to do a little pause. We'll be right back. We are so back to the She Means Business Master Society podcast. And before we keep talking with amazing Susan Houseman, I want to remind you that we open already the applications for the She Means Business 2025. We've been getting people applying, and I love that. Make sure that you do too, because we want to put your story out there. I know every story is amazing. So make sure that you tell us yours so we can spread the word and really amplify your voice. So we were talking about so many amazing things with Susan. And again, thank you for being here, Susan. I want to also share everything you do because you're very talented in calligraphy. So tell me about all the services that you provide, the techniques.
Okay. So I am a traditionally trained calligrapher who has taken that, and I can write on different surfaces. So I can take my lettering styles and I can engrave on glass, and I use a certain tool for that. And then I can work on leather surfaces with hot foiling, which is sort of like embossing. And I can write on fabric, and I'll write on you if you want me to.
You let me. I've seen her because she's done all these outfits as well, and I thought that was really, really cool. And which one is your favorite from all of them?
It all boils down that it's calligraphy, so I love all of it. I love to work with my clients and bring what it is that they are seeking to life, and having that opportunity to take what I know. And sometimes it's spontaneous. They are like, well, we change gears, or we want you to engrave, but now we want you to hot foil. Oh no, can you do both? Sure. I love being a working artist. That's what I love.
That's what you love. And I think it is all the techniques is like trying to get a favorite from your children, right? Like, I cannot say this one is my favorite
Right,
because the other one is my favorite too. So it's just like, okay, yeah, no, all of them are my favorites, okay?
That's
Like
right.
our children, all of them are my favorites. But which one do you think is the most wanted? Let's see, the most popular, the most wanted one.
I would say right now, the one that is the most popular and it is the most wanted is the hot foiling, the leather embossing. And that is, it's adaptable. I mean, you can take this tool and it's portable, what I use. So I can take it to a convention, I can take it on a trade show, I can take it to a restaurant, things like that. And I can hot foil items, leather items, and some cloth items and things like that. So because it's versatile, with engraving, you can engrave glass and on metal, but it's not necessarily, sometimes it's not something that you want in a place where you want quiet or, there's a conversation going. You might not want it, or you might want to put people in a certain area while that's going on. Because some people notice it, some people don't. But I think the hot foiling, really, it's because it's so pretty. Everybody loves a luggage tag that's got their initials on it.
Absolutely.
So it's very popular. And I would say that would be the number one.
So that's the favorite child, okay? Just saying. We're not going to say it out loud. It's just going to say that one is the favorite child for everyone, right? For the clients, for everyone. So that I feel that it's very elegant as well. So you go to a lot of luxury events. Which one do you think? And you don't have to give me brands if you don't want to, but which one pops up in your mind and was that amazing experience that you're like, oh my God, I want to do it again?
Oh, that's really tough. That's really tough. I really, I loved working with Tiffany and Co., but that was calligraphy on their packaging. So I was lettering, I was writing actually on the boxes and their little bags. With Guess, I was working on their passports, wallet passports, and sunglass cases where I was initialing, and that was
Beautiful.
hot foiling, and that looked great. With when I was working at a convention like Oracle, when I was there and working for the company that they hired me to work with, I was working on luggage tags. And so all the participants got luggage tags in their swag bags so they could come back over to the booth whenever they needed to, whenever they were there during the course of the day, and they could get them personalized.
Wow.
And so there's a constant flow. And then I was at another one. This was HR Tech convention, and it was for this brand called Achievers, and they had these beautiful journals that I was putting the first name on. So I was hot foiling it with a name, and so there's just it's depends on the environment. Their popular items really are luggage tags and journals when you're hot foiling, and then perfume bottles for, when you're going to a department store because they're really easy to engrave. Some of them use machine engraving, and you can tell the difference because it doesn't have the flow like it has when I use it. It's very very regimented, very exact, because it's a machine that's carving it. Whereas I'm going to flow and bring my personality into it. So there's a difference in that. So it's a matter of choice and what you want, and what you want to give your clients.
I just love that I can tell how much you love what you do because you couldn't pick just one. She's like, I was here and here and here, and all of them were amazing. So that tells me that definitely everything you do is with all your heart. And I can tell that not only I haven't seen you in action. I just seen you, I know what you do. I've seen videos of you doing it. And I see the heart that you pour into your craft. So we know about luxury, right? We know about luxury events, these high-end brands that definitely we'll say luxury. Tiffany, for example, is like, we'll say luxury, right? So how it is working with these people, how it is working or targeting your brand towards people like these type of brands?
Well, it takes a little bit of work, takes some homework. You can't just go in there and say, I'd like to do this job for you. You need to connect with the right people You need to know who to connect with. And then, of course, there is your work. You have to have done work. What does your portfolio look like? You can't just walk in and say, I'd like to engrave. And so there's a lot of behind the scenes work. So I'm always practicing. Like I have an event on Wednesday night, and I'm going to be engraving on these lipstick tubes. And I have to learn exactly what the finesse is, what speed I'm going to use for the engraving process so that it doesn't damage the item that I'm working on. So it's not something you can just pick up and do. And then with the brands, sometimes it is not who you know, it's who knows you to tell that person.
So it's word of mouth, the
So
way you
it's
promote
word of
yourself.
mouth. That's where the networking comes in, because you can't be in every room, but people who know you or have experienced your business will pass that information on to some of those people that you can't reach because they're so, they're protected by the outside mechanism of the business so that they're not inundated with requests. And that's why it's always good to connect with a variety of people that will lead you at some point to that person, or they'll contact you out of the blue. Like I have worked with Remy Martin on the Louis XIII coffrets for.
That is amazing. That is my favorite story.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It's still amazing because I'm still working with them. And the working on the coffret that houses the cognac bottle, and it is just beautiful and having that opportunity, but it stepped out of the calligraphy. I was still doing what I've learned about gold leafing because that's a historical type of process that was done in the medieval times. Now it's done with modern tools, and it's done for a special box that houses a very expensive bottle of cognac.
Yes, very expensive, very expensive.
Yeah.
So you get to work with all these people, and
Right.
but it's by
But they
by
found me.
connection. They found you because it's like you're so good at what you
Because
do.
of where I was.
So what marks the difference between you and other calligraphers?
So what my main difference is with the calligraphers I know is one, I've been around a long time. But
So
I
experience.
also, right. But I come from an artistic background. So I started as an artist. I didn't start because I wanted a business. I didn't start because I wanted a calligraphy business. I wanted calligraphy on my wall, and I was making it for myself. And then when someone asked me to do one for them and then they paid me, I was like, wow, you mean someone paid me to do this?
What?
So yeah, so it was for me, I come from the artist side. So I'm always solving problems. I'm looking at what is the request that the client is asking me. Can I do it? If I can, what tool do I use? And then, oh, how many surfaces can I use that tool on? And how can I bring so it's that experience that I've had, the problem solver and the artist that comes with me to everything. And then that theater performer. So I can come in and say, okay, I'm nervous, but let's do this.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know she's nervous. She's just in it, like, I got this. And like anyone, it's like inside you're like, it's like you
Right.
get to that point. But now that you're saying that, I know that whenever we have somebody with a background, an art background, an artist background, there is a lot of improv, right? Like you said, you mentioned also problem solving on the spot.
Yes.
So it's kind of magical whenever you get to have that superpower to get to, okay, this is not maybe working the way I want, so how can I solve this?
Yes.
And it's your experience that comes to show.
Yes, yes, yes. And I've been at events before where either my tool decided not to work, and I'm like, so I have backups to make sure. And then I've had items that were supposed to work for hot foiling, but were not right because they had a coating on them. So then what tool can I use? Because I'm here. I need to be able to solve this problem. So there's always that, emergency stash in the bag for those cases because you never know. You
And it
just,
happens to any business. I'm just going to say that because
yes. Yeah.
once you are giving service, helping somebody, you are a performer, right? You're a
Right.
performer. So it happened to me. I have a very quick story I'm going to tell you that now that you said that. Maybe a few years ago, I was shooting for a calendar, a Latina calendar. And one of the photo shoots was in a field, but for some reason we couldn't go to that field at the time that the photo shoot or around the time the photo shoot was going to be until the day of the photo shoot. So I show up there. There was no light, pitch black. I mean, it's fine. I can maybe work with that. But
Right.
back then, I didn't have the tools that I have right now. So I needed to improvise, right? I mean, I had the experience, enough experience to know what to do. So what I did was that it was outdoors. So I used my car's headlights to light the subject. And the photos came out amazing.
Brilliant.
It was nerve-wracking. I'm going to say that. It was nerve-wracking because you have all these people expecting amazing photos of you and you're like, oh, this is not going to work because it's so dark, you know? But I learned that there is always a way to solve problems on the go.
Yes.
And when I'm taking photos, I know that maybe didn't work out the way it was supposed to, but I'm going to make it work because I have that experience now in my back pocket.
Right.
And I love that that's part of what separates you from other people. And it's definitely a superpower. I want to say that is Susan's superpower. Susan, oh my God, I can be talking to you all day long. I want to invite you guys to read Susan's story. It is beautiful. It is heartfelt. It is touching. A lot of things that could have just stopped you, but you decided to keep moving forward. I'm going to say read this story, but big props to your husband, Randy, because he has a big thing there going on in that story that was definitely something that helped you a lot. So read that story in the book that is going to be out in October 11th. That's the launch, so please save the date. How can people find you?
Well, you can go to my website, Susan Houseman Designs. So, and I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on IG. It's Susan Houseman and Designs, and yeah, that's it, right?
Here I am thinking.
I'm thinking.
Yes. Yeah, that I think Instagram, LinkedIn,
Right.
website, everything
Right.
that you can find her, and you're gonna find her
Google,
now and
you can-
Google. Yes, now you're gonna find her in the 2025 She Means Business campaign that we are so proud to have you and so thrilled because what you do, as I said, is amazing. You are an amazing person with a huge story, very inspiring. So I want people to read that story. Please make sure that you read it. What is next for Susan? What is the next big project goal?
Well, that's the exciting part right now is I'm sitting here wondering, where is this podcast going to take me? Where is, when you launch the book, where is it going to take me? Who do I get to meet next? What is the next adventure that's around the corner? Because I'm just starting in Vegas, really. So I have no idea where this is going to take me and the connections I'm going to make, the people I'm going to meet, the opportunities that are going to come my way. So I'm just leaning into it. I'm accepting the fear of the unknown. I'm letting go of having to do it the same, because even though last year was extremely successful for me, that doesn't mean that this year will be the same kind of success. So it's your definition of success. What is your definition? And if you hold yourself to a certain definition, then you're cutting yourself short. So I'm letting go of my expectations. I try to do it every day.
You have to, yes.
And
just go with it.
allow myself to lean into it and just enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey. I'm going to leave you guys with that. This was Susan Houseman. You're going to see more of her. I love this, love this with all my heart. And I really hope that more women like Susan can apply to this campaign. We really want to amplify your voice. My name is Jaqueline Andrea. I am a photographer and a personal brand developer. We'll see you guys in the next episode of the She Means Business Master Society podcast. Hasta pronto. Thank you for listening to the She Means Business Master Society podcast. We will see you in the next episode.